It is 12 noon on US 220, where we overlook the hills as we head west into the Alleghenies. We are headed to Altoona, but instead of straight shooting it, we stop in Tyrone, where many know it as one of the many filming locations of the 2010 film Unstoppable. It's also the site where 50 trains are seen rounding the curve heading both west and east. One of those trains being 67R, crude oil empties from Raybold's Delaware City refinery. As 67R marches on westward, an explosion of black smoke rises over Tyrone, right as Norfolk Southern's Geometry Research and Inspection train rounds the curve and through the Tyrone station. Norfolk Southern 34 and 33 are a paired geometry consist equipped with advanced sensors and computers used for measuring track. 34 is a former Norfolk and Western SD-35 built in October of 1965. The unit ran for a total of 27 years before finally being retired in 1992, then being converted into what it is today in 1994. Now the unit is equipped with advanced sensors and measuring equipment, along with a generator for powering itself and NS-33. NS-33 is a former passenger car, now equipped with advanced computer systems for recording the data from the 34. As 903 continues west, the smoke rages on, and by the time we got to see what was going on, most of the street was engulfed in a now white as smoke, as water began to hit the fire raging within. Along 13th Street, we finally got to see what was causing all the smoke. A house explosion caused by a gas leak left one house destroyed and another heavily damaged. Unfortunately, one fatality was confirmed, and 5 others were taken to the Altoona hospital. From the fire in Tyrone to the weekday yard job in Altoona, CO4 heads east to switch out the east extension. Before heading into the yard, CO4 must switch over 2 connection tracks in order to get to the yard lead. Once ahead of the switch, CO4 crosses over from 1 to 2, then clear of the yard lead. As CO4 enters the yard, we focus on the bigger portion of Norfolk Southern's Rose Yard, where we see 66X slowly making its way to the crew changing point, while a Sperry rail car sits silent in the yard. As 66X continues down Main 1, a helper set is seen, entering Rose Yard after just assisting them up and over the steep Allegheny grade. "66X, crude oil loads from Chicago, is one of the 4 trains that brings crude oil to Raybould, Delaware, and with there being 4 loaded, that means there's 4 empties, making 67R one of the empties out of Raybould. Today's 66X also has NS 4002 in the consist, the third AC-44 C6M ever built. As 66X changes crews, CO4 continues to switch out the east extension as the helper set sits at the west end of the yard. As CO4 shoves in and out of the yard, maintenance of way after putting in new welded rail put the finishing touches on the Rose connection before reporting back to the yard. After 10 minutes, the signal at CP Homer is lined and 66X with its new crew departs Altoona, eastbound.
I'm going to call Nate and see if they need help over there to the cove. Want to go over if they do? Yeah, Frank, I already talked to Frank. I'm going to head over after this. you want to ride to?
I guess I gotta go to Dairy Street, so have a good night, thanks, so.
Okay.
You did have it on.
Yes, sir. We did have it.
Passing the Juniata locomotive shops, we see NS 1801, another specially painted unit marking the second SD70 ACC ever built. On 9th Avenue, Norfolk Southern 20Q marches on eastward with no helpers needed over the Allegheny Grade. Across from the Altoona Amtrak station, N57, a helper move to Johnston, heads west out of Altoona, just as 22W continues east. After 22W, CO4 after working the eastward extension is now seen at the west end of the yard, pulling ahead of the yard to back down into the west end of Rose. While CO4 is waiting to back down, 67R, after holding for the 3 eastbounds, gets to OK through Altoona and up the Allegheny Grade. After 67R, CL4 pulls further ahead, then shoves back into Rose Yard. As we approach the late afternoon, a maintenance of way truck picks up old tie plates from what I would think to be the Rose connection and dumps them into a truck for further transport, but would have to stop to let HI-10 with traffic from the Everett Railroad off the Cove Secondary and into Rose Yard. Back on the platform, we find 21M heading up the grade westbound with no help needed. Coming down the grade, we find 18N with dynamic braking in full swing as they head into Altoona with work at Rose Yard.
Yeah, that's a great covered hopper on the front of this train. What's the lead?
Following 18N is 36A, and like 18N, 36A also has some work to do in Rose Yard.
You're not going to see Amtrak. Right in the way.
As 36A slowly continues into Rose Yard, the familiar sound of Amtrak is heard, and between the autoracks is Amtrak 43, the Pennsylvanian, making its station stop in Altoona.
Let's get the helpers, Rod. We'll be all right.
After Amtrak and 36A, we are at the Brickyard crossing when the gates activate as N55 heads upgrade.
We can only hope. Almost got ugly just now.
Repositioned on the hill, we get a good vantage point where we can see trains heading into Altoona and where automatic block signals once stood, now replaced with cab signaling. Not long after repositioning, the light of 66E rounds the bend with crude oil loads for Eddystone, Pennsylvania. 66E is one of the trains that were once ran by CSX under the symbols K160 and K162, but when the Eddystone contract was shifted to Norfolk Southern, K160 was abolished and 66E was instated. Due to a special device equipped at the front of the locomotives, trains don't need to stop when helpers are no longer needed. The helpers can simply cut off from the train without the train having to come to a complete stop. Now with 66E clear of CP Alto, the helpers can continue into Altoona and wait for their next assignment. As we head into the night, 11N with only 15 empty auto racks heads west up the grade with only one unit needed. Next up is 34A, and just like 11N, only 1 out of 3 units is needed to haul another short train up the Allegheny grade. Following 34A is another helper set to Johnston to assist an eastbound train up the grade. As the helper set heads into the night, we decided to end day 1 with rear headlights fading into the night. But don't go anywhere as we still have 2 more days to cover. But until then, from the Weathered Rails, thanks for watching.